Welcome to the Squad Games Podcast. Squad Games Podcast.
It's a cat kind of day. My cat's in the room. She scratches at my legs when I run down the hall. I want to know why I'm running down the hall. This is my own home. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great.
Your own home in California? How'd you get that lucky, G?
Well,
I'm doing great. It's probably the cat had something to do with it. You know? Yeah, always.
I'm dripped down in the pussy. Wow, that was the lamest joke I've made today.
I think that I have way more cat drip than you do. Let's be honest.
I've been to your house.
You have. So let's not even start. Okay.
Oh my God, that was.
I might even have more cats than Tyler.
All right, how many cats you got?
I can't say because I think that I would get murdered online. It's not my fault. I live in a house with a lot of people that love animals. Okay.
He does.
I'm there with you.
I do.
I only have one cat, so that's easy for me.
I've got 3 cats up in my house. So
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Well, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have more.
okay.
Yeah, you'll see 3 like just kind of walking around when you go up to the door.
Yeah, see when you come to LA, if you come to the studio here, you'll meet the cats.
Okay, I can't wait.
And then when we go up to the Pacific Northwest, we'll meet the human cats.
Absolutely. You know, coolest team in the Northwest.
Exactly.
Coolest team in the Northwest. We've said here first, guys. Said here first. This is the Squad Games Podcast. My name's Giacomo. Today I'm with Dakotah, like I always am. And of course, we have a special guest today, Mr. Tyler. Tyler from up north on the west side.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good to hear. Good to have you back on, Tyler. You know,
Yeah.
Happy to be back. So it's always a good time talking with y'all.
Yeah.
So
today we have a very interesting set of stuff to talk about. Firstly, we're still compiling everything from the All Valley Team Tournament and getting our interviews with our other players. So that episode will be coming. But first, the more important talking point is that Kill Scream is right around the corner, and we have to get this episode out before Kill Scream happens. And Kill Scream is it the largest event in the Pacific Northwest? Did you guys beat Tacoma?
we're beaten Tacoma by a few players. We may be the largest event for this season in North America, actually, because ITC season reset, March?
You are wrong, my friend.
KTO and LVO happened
Unfortunately.
before that, and we're getting 64 players.
KTO had
Pretty
87.
wild.
Really?
KTO had 87 plus their narrative. So maybe second most right now.
I think so, right? And that just might be due to
If you guys,
people, you know?
yeah, if you guys maintain all of your players and you actually have 64 come out, you guys will also beat Nova. Nova's at 63.
Okay.
Ooh, that's your
Concurrent
goal.
players. Yeah.
We gotta beat Nova by 1. You know, it's I hope everyone shows up. It'd be a shame to lose anyone. You know, we want everyone to come out and have a good time, but you know, it happens.
Absolutely.
Drops happen. Life happens.
It does. And I think AVTT, we hit 54, which is great for the team tournament. I think last year we were the second largest tournament in North America, period. Or is it third? I forget how many players KTO had the year before. But we were either second or third. We did beat LVO last year for AVTT, and hopefully this upcoming year we've been talking to a lot of people, including the cats from the Northwest, for coming down to the All Valley Team Tournament next year, and hopefully we can push all areas in the United States to be bigger and better. That is our goal. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about Kill Scream? Last time you were on, you told us that you guys are giving out a sword. Have you guys got the sword yet?
Oh, we've had the sword since last time we talked. We haven't shown off the sword. That's coming here soon.
Okay.
I really hope it's like one of those plastic ninja swords you get from the ice cream man.
I mean, that would be cool. Like everyone has a sword to fight even with that. But no, this is a big fantasy style sword, fitting, very chaotic. Our theme was this year was heavy metal. So we wanted to get an appropriate sword for it. Mm-hmm. So, it's a nice dark fantasy style sword with skulls and spikes and all kinds of crazy stuff.
And it'll be very metallic, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
I'm not good at puns.
No, that was good. I like that.
I kind of want to kill myself. All right. Which would be great for Kill Scream because it's a horror themed event, right?
Absolutely. So we're following up our last year's Kill Scream, which we had 10 people at. And we had a little narrative thing, and
10 to 64 is
quite the jump.
Fucking nuts. Explicit podcast.
Yep.
It is crazy. Honestly, I can't believe the community growth that we've had in just over a year. We've gone from like the core, I think we had like 15 people, and we're like at 350 on our Discord now. And events are just like, there's a lot of demand for it. A lot of people want to come out and play. So our community's exploded, and it's just been incredible. The way that everyone supports each other, and they just want to see more and better gameplay from everyone else is astounding.
That makes sense. Now, is it because you guys are centralized? Are you guys pulling from other TOs in other areas of Portland? Do you guys have people coming from Canada? Are there people coming from California? Like, what is the demographic looking like for Kill Scream?
So it's mostly people up in the Pacific Northwest. So we covered as our core region kind of the Willamette Valley for Oregon.
Okay.
And then most of Washington, like the Seattle area, and then over in the Sound. And so
the
that's
Sound?
where...
What is that?
Yeah, that's kind of like out, like if you go on the other side of the bay.
Okay.
Of like outside of Seattle. It's like that region over there. So we have quite a few players out in that area.
Okay.
And so that's our core area. And then we're pulling some from Northern California, some from Canada, I believe. And then we got some flying in from Nevada also that I'm aware of. And then who knows who else, honestly. Sometimes people just randomly show up to tournaments.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So, but that's and then maybe Idaho. I think we have some people driving out from there.
Ooh,
nice. And the guys from Nevada, is that?
It is Reno. So it's the Reno squad is coming out. Reno Eye of Terror, I believe.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I've heard of them. I would love to meet them.
Yeah. They're cool guys. Vince is the guy I know. And he signed up right away. He heard about the event and he was like, I'm coming, dude. And so I'm so excited to meet him and hang out.
We had one Reno guy come out to the Hammer of Wrath tournament. And that was Rob, I believe. Shout out to you, homie, coming out so far. So that's cool. Reno sounds like it might be growing. That's very interesting.
Absolutely. I think that they have got a growing scene of a number of players. And they're really kind of like, I think Robert is coming out to ours too. So
nice.
Yeah.
Tell him hi from me. Or if he hears this podcast, what's up, homie? Glad you're making more events, and hopefully the Reno guys come to LVO as well, because that is in their neck of the woods.
It really is.
Yeah. So how have you improved Kill Scream other than the amount of people from last year to this year?
Okay. So this year we've got a lot going on. First off, we've got, we're giving away a sword. And then we've got a costume contest.
Is that to best overall?
So that will be to best overall. So first day is we're giving away our prizes because second day is invitational only. Top 4 are coming back. So we'll give away prizes based on that, all the fun stuff.
Top 4, that's an interesting format.
Yeah. So it's just that we want to get a final winner. So we will have top 8 on the first day. That will play a competitive mission for the 4th round. Everyone else will be doing narrative if they want to. So we have a special narrative 4th mission for players who aren't in that top running there. We got a costume contest. We've got some hobby pass stuff that I heard we're working out with you all of the final details for it. And then we've got sportsmanship. And then we've got our bounty board, which we do, which we use to raise money for charity. So far this year, we've raised $3,000 for charity.
Nice.
Which is incredible. So I'm hoping we can really...
Which charity?
We do it to various charities. So this year we'll be going for Kill Scream to Central Concern in Portland. They're an outreach group that does a lot of community service, a lot of social workers and stuff like that, which there's a lot of people in need out there. So
absolutely.
Yeah. We've done also to a couple organizations that do like board games for kids who are in need. As learning aids and stuff like that. So that's something, we're directly connected with as tabletop gamers. Getting people to play games who don't have access to it is also really important. It's such an important developmental thing for people. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's great. I love that you guys, I think you guys, now if anyone is you guys can correct me in the Discord or message me directly, but if there's any other TOs that directly work with a lot of charities, I don't think there's a lot of, at least big time TOs in the US that work with a lot of charities. So I'm not sure about anyone in Europe or anything like that, but specifically in, the USA. So that's a huge, awesome thing that you guys do. And thank you guys for doing that.
Yep. It's part of our like foundational principles as a club. I always wanted as a group for us to put our energy into something good. If we can afford plastic soldiers, we can probably afford to do some good.
Absolutely.
Money, so
absolutely. Now, you guys have ran quite a few tournaments this year, correct?
We have. I think we're coming up on, it's going to be our 9th so far, which has been a busy year. We run them about every other month, but sometimes they can run a little closer than that. We run out of Shiv Games in Kaiser, Oregon, thanks to Jeff there, the owner. He's been a wonderful partner, letting us have the space and giving it to us to grow our community. And then we've worked with Reality Break Games in Wilsonville. Right before Tacoma, we held a really tight, smaller competitive event that was really just focused on our people going to Tacoma to prep there. And then this one, Kill Scream, will be at Guardian Games, which they're our gracious host for this. And it's going to be really nuts down there. So
nice. Yeah.
We're always looking to work with more game shops. Really, our goal is to help them build a scene and be able to host tournaments to do good for the community with it. So,
yeah, outside of FLG, we've, I think, ran at, is it 4 stores? I think we're consolidating down a little bit. Last year, I think we did like 5 or 6 different stores, but not every store is as accommodating and not every store has the space for growing Kill Team. And not every store, unfortunately, wants to work with, Kill Team tournaments. They take a long time, especially 4 hours, 4 rounds, right? It's at least 9 to 10 hour commitment, right?
Absolutely.
So, game stores that are out there, if you're interested in working with any local TOs, make sure you reach out to them, but currently we found at least 3 to 4 really good stores that we really like to work with. And then we try to expand from there. But I can see last year we pulled ourselves really thin working with so many different stores. So I feel that winding them down is a little easier for TOs. It's less stress, less relationships that you really have to keep at the top tier. Because, sometimes like, hey, no one bought any tickets to your event at your store, because we had this happen, and then they just and then the store just stops answering any of your questions or whatever. So, unfortunately, sometimes those business relationships can sour. So it's interesting that your guys' stores are also probably more interested in helping the charities as well. So, that's good stuff.
Yeah. It's been difficult to find the right stores because not every store is the right fit, like you said, for running an event at. And it's because we don't have any sponsors or anything like that. We self-fund.
Not yet.
Not yet. Quite. Yeah. We'll get there someday. Wink, wink. But since
I'm
we
sending some
self-fund
stuff to
everything,
Kill
it's
Scream.
important that we work out deals with the stores that make events possible, because everything we take in goes back into our events. None of it's for profit. It's all just for us having fun with our friends. So not all the stores are on board with that. Some of them don't see the initial return on that, rather than the long-term return that's possible from it. And they're immediately turned off by the proposition of a community coming in and kind of setting up events and doing their own thing, and not necessarily giving them full control of stuff.
Yeah, it's I think the game stores that have been around for longer, or have been in the scene for longer, or specifically deal with the Warhammer community rather than just Magic and other card games, because there are some stores that specifically just deal with a lot of cards or comics, and they're less likely to look at the future just because either they're not as known, or they willing. I find that some of the stores that we have had a little bit more better relations with are stores that have been around, or owners that have been around and in the scene for a long time, because they can see where, like, hey, these guys are great, they're working for charity, and then like this game is building, so it's going to be in the next 3 to 4 years, there's going to be a lot of people being exposed to our stores, so on and so forth.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely like there's that hesitancy there, but like once you find that right fit, it's like really good. They're usually very excited to have a community come in and build something there. So, and Kill Team's a perfect game to do it. It doesn't take up much space. It's a lot less time intensive, but like you said, stores that are card focused, it's going to be hard for them to pull away from that immediate cash flow. Cards are big money, Yeah.
Yep.
Easy to transport, easy to store, compared to miniatures, which might sit on the shelf for a while, and then you actually have to support like tables that take a lot more space. So I understand it from like a business perspective. It's not always the move they want to make, because it's kind of expensive when you first do it. Yeah, or it can be.
Yeah, because also with miniatures, you also have to have paint and stuff like that. Now, I have a question about your format at Kill Scream. So are you guys going for one undefeated person?
We are. There will be one undefeated person end of day 2. So
you guys are doing a top 8 cut and then a top 4 cut. So you're doing a bracketing system, and then, which I definitely like your guys' system compared to like, what happened at Nova. Very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. So we originally, Kill Scream wasn't intended to be this big. It was kind of, we were going to do probably like 5 rounds, or like a 5th round to determine a single winner. And then we sold out so fast on our initial, I think it was 40 people, that we asked the store for more, and they kindly gave it to us. And we bumped it up to 64. So we had to kind of adjust our plans on how that was going to allow us to get to a single winner. Since we're giving away a sword, it would feel bad to like have a tie and it go to points. Like it needs to be one winner for a
Highlander.
Absolutely. There can be only one.
So are you guys not having any ties? Are you guys going to have tiebreakers for any ties that actually happen?
So any ties that happen, I mean, like, it will be points, VP and stuff like that. We'll tie break that. But I expect we'll probably get to a top 4 without ties. Likely. But
we'll see.
I mean, who knows? We'll see. It's always interesting. I mean, like, we have, I don't know, I guess at our last event it was 4 people, 2 of them who were tied, that were going in for the win there.
Technically, ties are undefeated. So yeah, it's going to, I like allowing ties, but for your guys' format, you guys might want to consider heavy tiebreakers, just so that you can maintain that tie, that win ratio that you guys are looking for. just
Yeah.
as an outside look. And,
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to have somebody who's like, I tied this person, but then you're also going to have it like, I tied this person and I lost because of tiebreakers, so I don't get in. It's always a possibility.
It is a possibility. It is ultimately like our tiebreakers are primaries and then secondaries for it. So, you got to do good in the game if you can't win all of them straight out, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we'll base it off that. So total victory points or total tournament points or however it's phrased in BCP will determine placings on there. And if you draw and you have the same score as someone else, but you don't score as many points, you didn't do as well, and you don't bring it back for the second day, or you don't make that cut, I guess is how we'll do it. Because it is like competitive, and being able to score your primaries and your secondaries is an execution of skill in the game. So
yeah, that's fascinating. Okay. That sounds fun. Do you guys, I will be donating at least one prize to Kill Scream this year to the overall winner, which will be a really cool token tray. At least I think it's cool with all your guys' symbols and stuff like that, horror themed. Plan on doing some transparent red tokens to make it look, like blood. So should be really fun, really cool.
Well, that's really exciting. I can't wait to give it away to him also.
Yeah. And I'm also going to be giving away anyone who wins that event gets to come down to the West Coast Championships for free and compete. The West Coast Championships will be if you win, you get your ticket paid for LVO. So the $75 entry fee will be waived. And then to that event as well, we're going to be giving away to first place and to your best sportsmanship a ticket to the All Valley Team Tournament next year. So for free. So anyone out there in the Pacific Northwest that's already gotten a ticket to this tournament, I hope you guys are excited about those.
Well, that's incredibly exciting. I have to match that. So let's say for both of those events, first the West Coast Championships, and then next year's All Valley, winners of those top place at All Valley, and then number one at the West Coast Championships, they can come up for Kill Scream 3.
Woo!
Hell yeah. Well, it's something exciting. I haven't talked to G about this, but me and Saya are planning on getting tickets early to Kill Scream 3 next year and making our way up there. How about you, G? You want to go to Portland?
I do, actually. I wanted to go to this one, but I'm poor at planning, and I also have 2 weddings right in between these. So then that didn't happen.
That's fair. Next year's going to be crazy. We're trying to double it. We're going for 128. And we're going to have to go to a new venue and stuff like that. But we've got some big stuff planned. We're already working on for next year.
I love
it. That's amazing. We will try to bring as many SoCalians as we can.
We will have a proper web presence for next year also, so people can find out more information. Our event this year kind of popped out of nowhere. It's like 2 months from confirmation that we can even host the event to the event, which is crazy. So
yeah, that's amazing. And, hopefully Kill Team continues to grow year over year. That is all of our goals, and to help foster all of the communities to do so. Now, since you were on last, has there been anything that you guys have done in the community, something special that other TOs that are listening might be able to take away and start doing in their own areas in order to grow more?
So I do everything is word of mouth up here. It's kind of difficult to explain. But like, really, it's just like you need to have a very a presence in a store and start talking to people. Other than that, like, make sure that you're interacting with your community directly and getting people into your Discords. Like, having people see a community be excited about the game is so important. to its growth. A lot of people get locked down in like store discords, I feel like,
Yes.
rather than in a community discord about their game. And so like, it's really important to get those people who are in your region from that store discord or like whatever store Facebook group into yours, where they're communicating with you directly so that they can understand what you're trying to do as an organizer, rather than seen only from what the store is doing.
I also find that sometimes multiple discords can open up a lot of people to becoming fragmented again, and instead like coming all under one banner. Like we have two discords down here. We have the SoCal. Let me make sure that I say it right. We have the SoCal Skirmish Gaming, which is meant for just SoCal kids. We have Squad Games. You guys have yours, which is KTC, Kill Team Cascadia. There's also, Command Point, which is kind of like a regional thing at this point. They're so enormous. And Squad Games is growing to more of a national level as well, because we have people from Canada. We do LVO, which is kind of like the Super Bowl of Kill Team in America, outside of Games Workshop, which you can only go to theirs if you get invited. And then you have to pay your ticket there. It's awesome stuff. Yeah. So, while these things are exciting, it's fascinating being able to see like the biggest event in the Pacific Northwest will hopefully and always continue to be for Kill Team, Kill Scream, right? That's your guys' goal. Or are you guys planning to push anything else to be big?
I think that we kind of need to push another event. We haven't really determined where in the year that we're going to do that, but I would like something else throughout the year that is kind of a major event of some sort, maybe in the spring or something, give it some spacing.
One thing I found is that people can usually only afford to travel maybe once every 4 months, unless if you are some players that are on that ITC grind, which we'll talk about a little later. Like for me, I think my plans as of next year, and hopefully Giacomo's too, and Saya, because we're going to talk a lot about some of these IT studies, points on the internet that don't matter. We're going to talk about that later, but like, BAO, some, San Diego stuff. And then I would really like to go to Nova, New York Open, or somewhere in Florida next year, depending on which one makes sense for us. And then also Kill Screen. So it's kind of like 3 to 4 events that I would like to travel to play. And hopefully we can get the rest of Squad Games to go as well. Is there any, because, and LVO, obviously, like we run it, right? Now, is there anything that you are pushing the Pacific Northwest? Because, the Pacific Northwest does not travel very much. And I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about this too. Like I put you guys on blast a little bit a couple weeks ago. You did. Talked a little bit of shit. I'm not going to hide from it. I did. I had you guys on, then immediately talk shit afterwards,
It's okay. It's fun banter,
Exactly. Is there any kind of other events that you guys are pushing your local players to travel to? It's a lot easier for West Coast players to go to West Coast events rather than spending however much money to go to like Nova, New York Open, Adepticon, these ACO, these kind of big other events.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I'm pushing players to go to LVO. I want to show out at LVO with cats, and kind of get us on the more national representation. We've been sequestered up here in the Pacific Northwest. It's time to break out. After that, team tournament, All Valley team tournament next year. Sounds incredible. I'm actually sad I missed it this year. We just couldn't quite get our schedules to line up to come down. A few of us were trying, but we couldn't make it happen last minute. And, I would like to go to the New York Open personally. I think it sounds incredible. Just like a really good crew out there, from all my interactions with them. So, and then, like it's just like a lot of stuff going on, but like, those are the 3 events I really want to see people from the Northwest headed out to and participating in. So,
yeah, one thing is, hopefully me and Travis will be a little bit better planners because we both planned the West Coast Championships and New York Open on the exact same days, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to travel from the Pacific Northwest, I highly recommend our All Valley Team Tournament and LVO. If you could make another one, SoCal Open or the West Coast Championship in California are also great, or BAO, which is a little bit closer, right? It's up in San Francisco. It's about a 5-hour less car ride by road. Chris Bach, he's going to be the TO for that. So that'll probably be some of the more easy things for the Pacific Northwest to go. But obviously, if we're going to be pushing Kill Scream to be as big as possible, hopefully reach the 120 player mark, we want to do the same thing for one of our tournaments out here, which would hopefully be the All Valley Team Tournament. So if you guys want to help support the squad games or Kill Team in general, kind of focusing on one event is important for the TOs and the organizers. So anyone else that are like from Nevada, from Idaho, from Arizona, from anywhere on the West Coast, right? Try to get your gaming group together, go in on an Airbnb and come to one up in the Pacific Northwest, one down in California, and then run your guys' own. And then obviously everyone come to LVO. Why not? Right. It's in Vegas.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know,
I mean, Vegas is always a good time. Pretty centrally
Vegas.
located too. It's Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
Right?
and if this tournament format is successful, we may see this tournament format happen again and again and again. And then heaven forbid because LVO is going to be a 9-round Swiss, right? So, yeah. So it's going to be 3 rounds on Friday, done before 5, 3 rounds on Saturday, done before 5, and then 3 rounds on Sunday, done before 5. Maybe after the award ceremony, it might be like 5:30 or 6, right? We're going to be doing a lot of award stuff during lunchtime on that day in case people have early flights or something. But having these things planned out for everyone. I mean, if Warhammer can do it and other teams can do it, like AOS, then Kill Team, since it's growing so much, we should be able to move to that format as well, right? It's interesting though so one thing that I like as a TO is having one extra round. At least one extra round, because it makes it feel like everything could get blown wide open. So for instance, at the All Valley this year, we had 6 rounds and we had one penultimate winner after round 4. And that was Bats Team B. They ended up taking the whole thing, but on round 5, they won. And then round 6, they ended up losing, which blew it open, which, had a lot of interesting interactions and stuff. Is that something that you guys might think about doing next year, or is it specifically the venue's preference that you guys have a smaller presence on day 2?
So it wasn't ever intended for this to be a 2-day event. It was just, 1 day 4-rounder, have a good time, 5th round to determine ultimate victor. But to get to that one final, hopefully undefeated person, the second day, we had to ask the store to give us space. They actually have a Magic tournament going on that day, and they've made space just for us to show up and have our final round there.
Nice.
That's nice.
Okay.
So very accommodating of them, honestly.
What's fascinating is going to see what Kill Scream turns into next year, because you guys will know that your event is going to be more popular, or at least at worst case scenario, you get just as many tickets. Best case scenario, you double, right? So somewhere in between, it's going to be interesting to see what you guys plan for the next year. I'm very excited, especially since I'll be attending.
Absolutely. We've got a whole new theme coming out next year. We're going, we like to keep it fresh. We'll announce our new theme at Kill Scream this year. For the whole year. So all of our events will be themed around that. And I've got a special venue I'm trying to secure, and a few other like quirky additions to the event.
Nice.
Let's say. So it'll be hopefully a show of some sort.
No.
For the event. So little over the top.
Okay, cool. I'm excited. So now going to Giacomo, is there any question that you wanted to ask before we move on to the next little part?
No, let's go ahead and move forward.
Cool.
Heck yeah.
So I talked a little bit of shit in a previous episode. I think it was the one with Shane when we were doing the Nova one. And it was specifically that you guys really valued intercession really highly. You guys just had a big winner at Tacoma, which I still feel is extremely I don't know how it happened.
I mean, I'll tell you how it happened. Our Colts player that would have taken it, he got sick day 2.
What?
Yeah, he wasn't playing. I mean, he's the one who took me out round 3, first day,
Drinking too much, something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the sake helped, but I don't think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But he got taken out, by the person who did finish first. Matt's an incredible player, very precise, but getting sick will not help you win those events. And so once our top Colts player was knocked out, we didn't really have, not to say the other players weren't good, but they just weren't prepared for some of the other top players that were
Interesting. There. So this is no shade towards Matt. I think it's a very well and huge win for intercession. I do find it interesting how few Colts players there were, how many few Felgor players there were, because this event happened before the nerf. The summer of Colt, the melee summer, as Games Workshop just recently deemed on one of their videos, that I don't think it's over, like Elliot said, but what has led to the Pacific Northwest to thinking or taking intercession more than Legionary? And has after Nova, after a few other big tournaments, has your disposition upon the meta changed at all? Or do you think that intercession is still one of the strongest teams?
So I personally think they're still one of the strongest teams. They're just consistent, you got each unit is solid in it. They can all do work. They got access to all of the rerolls and they can put the damage through. They have a great matchup into Commandos, which is probably the strongest team at the moment, with just how everything's kind of rolled out. I think Legionary's a fantastic team. Also, I'm a Legionary player primarily myself. But I think that intercession there's less mental load on it ultimately.
Agreed.
And I think that there is more consistency with them. And I think that that's what just makes them a really solid team. I think that Matt picked intercession because he has a lot of experience with them and he knew he could do good with them. And I think that consistency just counts for a lot. I think that if we had more players playing Colts, especially our top players or Felgor at the time, we could have seen some different results. But I know a lot of our players didn't want to play those teams because they either didn't feel right, given how overpowered they were, or they just weren't the fit for the player. Like Fabi is one of our Hand of the Archon players, and he's incredible with them. And I couldn't see him really playing Colts. He could probably do incredible things with them, but it's not his play style. Same with Greg Marquino, who came in second. Greg's our head TO, and he's been playing Phobos since they came out. And to see them get buffed up to where they're a solid team, he wanted to go out there and prove what they could do. And I think he did. He came in second overall. So I think that there was a lot of personal feelings about the teams that stopped players who'd be in contention for top spots from running them at Tacoma.
Yeah, it's interesting. Giacomo, has your idea of where intercession lies in the current meta? Because obviously we're going to talk about some of the meta because Games Workshop Elliot, in an interview in the most recent Warhammer community article, came out and said that this meta is going to be staying around until the end of November, early December. So, what do you think? Do you think that intercession, I know that they're very reliable. I think they are a very good team. I think they're at minimum an A team. Do you still put them in S tier, Tyler?
I mean, I think that they're like top A, S tier. You know, like it's really hard to say. I think the meta's in a good shape overall after changes to Felgor. Well, Felgor probably needing a buff, but after the changes to cults, really, and that while it's really down to player preference on the team, I don't think we see in other regions a lot of top players wanting to play Intercession. I personally don't like to play Intercession. I only took him to Giacomo because I'd been overworked for the 3 weeks before, and I knew I could play them pretty reliably without a lot of prep. So, you know, if a team doesn't sit with you, why would you play it?
Exactly.
I think that I personally think they're kind of boring, and I generally encourage people to move away from Intercession after they've been playing them for a minute. It's like, come on, like let's play a more interesting team.
I can agree with those sentiments 100%.
He's saying fighting words. Oh,
because I've been playing Intercession. I remember because I was going to play Phobos that day, and then I was tying my shoes, getting ready to go, prepare for the day. And I read the little Warhammer article comes up on Warhammer Community, and I go, oh, Intercession's a thing. So I went upstairs, got my Intercession, played with them for the first time that day. And I was like, they play so well, and they're very fun. And because they're so easy to play, whenever I go to tournaments, I take them because I really don't want to do a whole lot. I want to do more drinking than I want to do more playing, you know? I want to have a good time. But the more I've been playing them, the more I kind of go like, well, I know kind of what my moves are now, and I know what I'm going to be doing and what my opponent can and can't do against them. So the choreographed dance is very similar. So you're right. There's times where it gets boring. But I think they're great for introducing people to the game because you can make a lot of mistakes with the team and still be all right. And Absolutely. They're great for those, like, if you really just want to have a good time, play them. I would even argue Legionnaires can be similar. They have definitely more things because of the marks, but they're the concept of take these 6 guys, make these 6 guys do something. And that's really only those 2 teams. I can't think of another elite team, maybe Custodes. That would be like, this is, you sort of know what you're going to be doing. But Justinian's another one. Though I still think Legionnaires have a little bit more fun because of the stuff you could do. Where you're right, Intercession is kind of boring. You know what you're going to do. I'm going to do rerolls this turn. What am I going to do next turn? I'm going to do rerolls next turn. That's it. You know, you're right.
I think y'all crazy. I find Intercession to be a hoot. I love the team. I think that they're so much fun. And while they may have more of the basic of tactics, I think they are 100% an S tier team for new players.
Absolutely.
For anyone looking to do good at any tournament. These guys, unless if you go to Nova, this team will take you there. You will probably place at the majority of all tournaments we've seen Intercession at least do well. Even at LVO, Adrian Bonavento, an amazing player, did take them to 3rd, right? Yeah. Now, I don't think that they are S tier for these events that have a ton of top players at. Specifically because these top players aren't taking them. And also, I feel that they are easy to deal with certain teams.
Yes, at that top level.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, so like when we look at Nova's results, at the first place, the highest placed player for Intercession, I think they were the 2nd or 3rd most taken team. And the top player placed 26th because there was Vetguard there. Yeah. You know, anything that is going to heavily have any of these shooty hordes. So Hearthkin, Pathfinders, Vetguard, these shooty hordes with high AP. Intercession's probably not going to have a great time just in general. Right. Yeah. Even agreed. If the maps are heavy or you're playing on Into the Dark. You know, I'll just move my plasma into this room, shoot a guy. Oh, he didn't die. Okay, I'll move the Melta in now and kill him.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
You know. So
we don't have Pathfinder players up here.
Really?
None. I've never seen. There's never been Pathfinder at any of our events.
Wow.
As far as our meta representation, it is 0.
I got to move to the Pacific Northwest now because there's no Pathfinder players.
We got to have at least one.
You know, get away from the Tal Empire.
We've been talking about that, and that's one of the things that we've really said. You know, you need to drill Pathfinders, because if Pathfinders show up to our event, no one has any practice into them.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
Wormblade too. Wormblade could do some good stuff.
Wormblade we do have a couple really good Wormblade players out there, you know, but like still not a team. If you don't have prep into them, they'll run over you. You know, like there's definitely like these shooty hordes that can do damage and put it into people if they're not prepared. You know, Hearthkin, we only have one major Hearthkin player out here, and so
Katrina, Kita.
Absolutely, Kit. She's incredible. So, but I think she's gone back to Blooded also.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because I know. Okay, there's a lot of people out there that are on this Hathkin hype train. I'm glad for you. I'm glad. May the ancestors bless you.
Please.
But I don't think they're in that position in the meta. No, the last time we talked about Hearthkin and how not impressive they were, we made a lot of people angry. A lot of Hearthkin players. But you know, to be honest, I still think that they aren't great in the meta because there are a lot of teams that can still deal with that team. Like they still have some pretty decent counters. They're just like, in my opinion, they're similar to Kroot, right? Like Kroot have amazing shooting. They can do great on most matchups, but then like you're going to run into somebody at a tournament and you're going to lose just because of the matchup. You know what I mean? They're not in that spot that can dominate like Felgor used to be able to.
So I think Hearthkin, it's very first off Hearthkin player of them to get really mad for someone
to hold the grudge.
The grudge. That's going in the book.
I've been written in so many people's books. It's crazy.
Absolutely. You know, you said something bad about the dwarves. That's going in the book. I think that they're fantastic, and I think that there's a lot to them. I don't know if they're like quite. I think they're like, if we're going to give it like a tier list rating, like high B, you know, low A. Totally possible to win with them, especially if other people aren't prepared for them.
I think you're generous there. I think they're solid B.
You know, but like Void Dancers coming into them, they're going to have a bad time.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Those laughing elves just laugh and dance and kill little squats.
I can't remember. Do Void Dancers want to move forward as well like the other elves do?
Oh, yeah.
The Hearthkin have the one guy who stops early movement. So that's...
Yeah, but
that
they
could
can fly.
help. Yeah.
And they all have invul saves. And they have monofilament kisses, which turns your insides to mush when they hit you with them.
That's true. I mean, obviously, you don't want to get into melee with Hearthkin.
And there's a lot less insides with Hearthkins. So
I mean, Plasma Knife's not bad, though. Plasma Knife's not bad.
I bet, like, per like unit of weight, there's probably the same amount. It's just, like, compactor, you know? Like, you take all
8 models versus all 10 models, put them in a blender.
Exactly.
See how much they weigh.
I mean, I would definitely give Hearth. I think I agree with you on the B rating. I think that they are a very strong B. They can be pushed in the right hands, maybe to A.
I think if we see some like changes in the meta in November, they could go up. You know, like the right nerfs to other teams. It's like Commandos. They've had this bomb squig for a minute, and then the other teams get nerfed, and it's like, oh, they're actually super incredible. And it's like they've always been incredible. It's just that, you know, everything's pushed them to that limit where they're the best right now.
If we look at Games Workshop, like they said, they're going to buff Wormblade. Who knows what they're going to do with that team? They're going to buff. They're going to make them just better somehow. We hope. They're going to buff Ravagers, and they're going to buff. Who's the last team?
I can't remember. I just remember Wormblade and Felgor. Oh, Arbites.
Yeah, Arbites. Arbites are also pretty darn close to being amazing.
I'm waiting for them to be overpowered. I have a shirt that I'm going to release when they're overpowered.
Ah, good. So.
Imagine it just sits there. They never get overpowered.
It's one of these days. You know, that way it's not political commentary when it comes out.
There you go.
Hey, they are a funny meme on our current world situation where they beat people.
That's Judge Dredd in general. When the character was created back in the day, it was a satire on the police.
All our BDs are bastards. So, that's all I'll say. Little sneak peek on the shirts.
All right, good. So what's interesting is that Felgor are already in a pretty okay spot, even though they're not winning or taking events. I think a little bit of a buff will be nice. Hopefully they don't revert any changes. And hopefully they explain to people on the Discords that you can't kill a Felgor in one shooting round. If you come to any of my events, you will never be able to do that.
So we found we had an in-depth discussion about this just recently. And there's one situation in which a Felgor could potentially die in a shooting round. And that's if you got blast and splash, So it's the splash potentially takes to 0 wounds and then the blast hits it finally and kills it. So that's the only situation I can come up with.
It's all simultaneous. So
mortal wounds effect before, I think, I don't know. It's debatable.
You might be right with a mortal wound splash. You might be right.
Yeah.
If you're
able
to.
That's the only way. It has to be reduced to 0 wounds before you roll for the blast portion because of the mortal wounds. I don't know if that's technically right, but after an in-depth discussion between a lot of people, that's kind of what we came to.
I could see that as a snap judgment. I could definitely see that. If I'm wrong, get on our Discord and let us know. And you can let Tyler know too how wrong we are.
Absolutely.
The internet likes to do. So I could also see with those teams getting buffed, a couple other teams getting nerfs. We could see Hearthkin in a good spot, but I don't think we'll have Hearthkin. Personally, I don't think we'll have Hearthkin in a good spot until possibly December, which will be interesting because that data slate announcement, whenever that happens, late November, early December, we will 100% have, it'll be LVO's data slate. So people can start prepping earlier. I mean, unless if GW is like, 2 weeks before LVO, here's another balanced data slate. That would be exciting.
Kicking the nuts.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That'd be super exciting. So maybe they'll be in a good spot for LVO, but I don't think that anyone who's going to bring them to the world championship that Warhammer's putting on is going to have a good time.
Yeah. I think that they should nerf, just while we're talking about nerfs, I want them to hurt the clowns. Make the grip 5 EP.
Okay.
Just personal,
they're definitely S tier. Yeah,
they are. They've been S tier for too long. Let's just hurt the clowns. The grip's 5 equipment points now.
I mean, that's what we used to say about Ravagers. Just change war paint. Yeah. But then they made them completely different, which is all right. I think over time I've come to agree that maybe they still should be able to hold objectives if they're frenzied.
No,
you still don't?
Jack,
no, you still
don't.
No,
I don't like that because it feels bad for new players. It's just like a feels bad mechanic, and I think they're trying to get rid of some of those feels bad mechanics so that the team is at least a little bit more popular. I think that's one of the things that I really like. The shooting thing, I mean, it's only come into play once,
right?
When I fought them,
it's not a big deal, so it wasn't that much of a problem.
I think they should count as -1 APL for control of objectives.
That could be interesting.
I could live with that. That's a good compromise.
That way, because they should still be able to run onto it, or if they're getting shot off of it, control it, while they're still there. But
or they need
maybe not.
You need a frenzied and another guy or something. No, that's too complicated now.
Yeah, but that way, if you just run one regular guardsman on a frenzied goat's objective, you've taken it from him because he's too busy freaking out,
right,
or whatever. So
yeah. Now, so what do you think about Vetguard? Is there any Vetguard players up there? We just did a podcast on them, talked a lot. It looks like it might have invigorated a few people to break off the dust and start throwing some dice with some Vetguard models. Is there any Vetguard players up there in Pacific Northwest?
We do have some Vetguard players, but I think that a lot of players are starting to kind of realize that Vetguard's in a great spot. They've been in a great. They're so incredible.
They've always been.
They always have been.
Always have been. Yeah, I think that it's just the cycle of things. New teams come out. You want to play the new stuff. It's shiny,
Now
But
I'm
I
going to
think
play
that-
intercession.
I think that Vet Guard, though, are they just like they're one of those teams that it's like there's a lot going on. 14 models, there's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, it can be difficult if you don't practice the team, for sure.
Yeah, it takes a lot of commitment for Vet Guard, and I think that we're starting to see some players put in reps with them, and it could be very threatening in the future.
Yeah, vet guard, they're really difficult because you have to practice that team. If you don't, you can't just pick them up, go to a tournament like you would expect, like an intercession or Justinian or even Legionary, right?
Yep.
Legionary still you need to practice, but like vet guard, Pathfinders, these shooting hordes of people's, because I think a lot of things that people don't realize is when you're playing a team with more activations, it matters more when you activate and how you activate and what models you put next to which models. Felgor is a huge on that. They have such a high skill ceiling. I think they have one of the biggest high skill ceilings in the game because they have so many different abilities, but you have to practice enough to know which model to put next to which, what activation order you need to do. And it's the same thing with Gellerpox. A little quick thing for the AVTT. A lot of people know Orion Wolfong from Plasma Spam. He's the leader of Plasma Spam. He also won LVO. He's been on the podcast multiple times. And he came down to the All Valley Team Tournament. Thank you very much, brother, coming from all the way from Baltimore.
Sad I missed you.
Yeah. And like, I call him the Gellerpox King, the Geller King, because he won LVO with them. And then he went 5-1 with Gellerpox, and he played Chris Pocky. He played Alex Squires, and he beat them both. He beat a lot of the best people. I don't think he got to play Jimmy Kelly, but he got to play a lot of the best players in SoCal and show that Gellerpox still played to their highest caliber, are still a very scary team. A lot of people have shaken off the Gellerpox jitters, but they are still a very, very scary team when you can play that model, that team to the highest level, because they have that activation. They have the flexibility. Intercession and these smaller teams have a different, their activations matter a lot too, but they're typically tankier. They can typically do more things. So, and it doesn't matter as much. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to flip this. I'm going to use Auspex on this guy because of this, and then I'm going to dash off this building and be safe. They have so much more flexibility that you can kind of do more things with a lower count activation army. That's why it's a lot easier to play those. These higher model count teams, if you're not seeing as much success, maybe swap to a lower count army and then move back to the higher count, or start thinking about your team in a different way that you can change some things and win more. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a decent tip.
If I feel like with a lot of these teams, the high skill cap teams, it takes a lot of games, 15 to 20 to like really get a handle on them, to where you're like feeling okay with them, not even good. Okay. Like you're like, okay, this is how the team runs. This is what I need to be doing. Now it's time to drill.
Yeah.
And it feels bad when you're first doing those reps with them, especially if you're a newer player, and you're losing all the time, and you're not getting it and it's not clicking for you. And sometimes it's just like you have to stay with it until it clicks for the team, or you need to switch off to another team and come back when you have like a better grasp on all of the factors that are going into how you play that team. Go ahead. Sorry. Okay. I was going to say, play against the team, find someone else who's maybe a better player than you, or you think is a better player than you, and ask them to play that team into you.
Absolutely.
Like I do a lot of coaching these days for people. Someone will be like, hey, I need to work on this team, or I don't understand how this team works. And so we'll sit down and we'll first play a game against each other, and then they'll play a game against someone else as I coach them and kind of walk them through stuff. And there's like when it starts to click for that player and they understand how they're actually supposed to use the team, there's a night and day difference in the skill level that comes from the preceding games there.
Exactly. Another thing is also realizing like going to tournaments and playing against more teams and other teams. Sometimes you'll want to play commandos, but maybe you just can't grasp it. If you can't grasp it, go to Strategic Advantages blog. A manual will teach you how to play commandos. But outside of that, other things are like if you play against a team and somebody's doing something differently than you do, try not to think of like, oh, you're doing it wrong. Try to think like hard of like, oh, wow, that was a really good move. It's not something I typically would have done. Like when I was playing against True at Nova, he used his demo man just to charge a model on a point. And I was like, yeah, I never use my demo man to charge someone, but I might do that in the future because I value his bomb more than, winning points. And ultimately that's what won him the game, or there's multiple factors, but one of the options. And he never fought. He just contested that point the entire time. So when it came down to tiebreakers, he won. So I think that, there's a lot of ways to run the teams and not everyone's going to know everything. Giacomo, you are very much a Pathfinder player and Intercession player. And I've seen you on our Discords painting beautifully, by the way.
Thank you.
The Pathfinders, the Kasserkins, and the Hearthkin. Is there anything that has made you want to start painting and doing? Is it just collection? Is it because you saw people playing them? What is it?
Well, when it came down to it, I've always been interested in a few things. Fire Warrior on the PlayStation 2. If I remember right, it was the 4th edition Guardsman Codex with the picture of the Kasserkin and the regular guy in like one of the first few pages. And I really like those little dwarves. So I thought, all right, I'm going to collect these guys and I'm going to paint them. But at the same time, I wanted to play something that wasn't just 6-man teams. Because although I love my Intercession, no matter how boring they are, and you could argue I love my Phobos, no matter, small teams. But I just kind of wanted to do something different. Like, try practicing with 2 APL models, which I never really do. So I'm so used to having activations and being spoiled by it. So I thought like, well, as a player, you should know how to kind of do both, get a good grasp for both. Because there's things you can probably learn from each one. With elites, I learned how to value each guy and what to do to sort of keep him protected. And with 2 APL guys, at least from some practice things I've done on like TTS, I've learned it's okay to sacrifice pawns sometimes, which you normally won't do with like Intercession. You're not going to sacrifice a guy. You only got 6 of them. Mm-hmm. So like those are kind of the reasons I've been moving into some more of the big teams now, is to try them out and get a better understanding from that angle, something I don't really do.
Okay. Fair. Has there been any player out there to help you? Is there any player out there that's really helped you or like wanted you to expand into other teams?
Yeah. One of the homies out here in Santa Clara, a few of the homies, just like they had Legionnaires to start with, and then they bought Blooded, and then they got Kasserkin as well. And so we have another couple friends who play like Wormblade and who play Custodes. And it's just like all these different things, these different abilities, which I'm not used to because I tend to see a lot of Intercession because that's all I played. And so it made me want to try some new abilities as well, in addition to just trying something bigger with bigger team sizes.
I think that having the variety of experiences, seeing how other teams play, and not getting stuck playing against the same team or playing the same team keeps the game fresh.
Yeah.
If you're always playing the same game, you're going to get bored real quick. That's why I'm always trying to encourage people to get started with a simple team like Intercession and then move on to something that's like really
Justinian.
Really interesting for them. Like, kit bash something cool, go out on a display board, really paint them up, tell me a story with the dudes. I want to know who they are and what they're doing. Ultimately, we do a lot of competitive stuff up here. Mostly because narrative's hard, but I want people to tell me a story with their miniatures as I'm playing them in a competitive game. I want to see cool stuff. I don't want to just see the same stuff all the time.
Right.
Absolutely.
I want to imagine in my head why my goats are fighting your Krieg or like whatever weird converted vet guard you have, I have some Salvar Chemdog vet guard, and it's like, just like kind of like really, really wild stuff you see sometimes. You get wild conversions and it's cool, that's my favorite part of the hobby, personally.
Absolutely. That is one of my favorites as well. You see a lot of good stuff. Last year, there's amazing things at LVO. Like,
Oh my gosh,
I think
those sisters.
Yeah.
That was
Sister
Abel.
Breachers. Ooh.
Oh, the Sister Breachers. That was Miguel.
Yep.
We had Sisters, the Novitiates, the Undead ones.
The damned ones,
Abel.
right?
Yeah, by Abel. Amazing.
He did a
Abel's
great job with
conversions.
that.
Yeah, he almost
Abel
won
is
this converted.
the coolest guy. Also, can we just shout out to Abel?
Oh,
There you go,
Just
Abel.
being a
Woo!
rad person.
We had Oust, who came out with, I think it was him, the Undead Breachers, which were amazing.
They were
And then
cool too.
there was so many good, just great, Andrew, who won the best painting from San Diego with his converted
Those Legionaries. Right? Yeah. I love those guys.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about those for a second.
Yeah. Then you had everyone who went to AVTT this year that just has been up in their game. Like, it's just crazy to see from year 1 to like year 2, and then I can only imagine what year 3 is going to be. It's going to be insane.
Absolutely. The photos I've seen from AVTT have been crazy, by the way.
We didn't even release all of them.
People, just like the people I've talked to who were there, they just said it was absolutely amazing. I got to go next year and bring my team with me. So
There we go.
Yeah, it was a good time. Now, is there any other teams I want to talk about Colts.
Okay.
Okay. So they did not see a huge breakthrough at Nova. And I think it's because everyone thought Commandos was a great matchup into them. And I think that people were trying to counter what they thought was going to happen. And it's interesting because we had a 54-person tournament. It's a lot less risky to quote unquote bring Colts at the All Valley. And the All Valley saw a lot of Colts players and they did very, very good. Like the only teams to like righteously beat them were surprisingly the Hearthkin. Kellen Foster took them into open and into the dark. Defeated.
It just blows my mind that happened.
Yeah, defeated. We'll have to talk to Kellen eventually about how he ended up doing that. So maybe they're like a low key counter to cultists that we didn't know about. Too bad they suck into a lot of other teams. Obviously commandos, there was a lot of commandos, and then Colts came out and in force, right? Baki brought them. I think he only lost to Orion's, Gellerpox. Right? Yeah. And then like Jeff beat Orion with them, and then like there's so many Colts players and they did so well, mostly because a lot of times they could guarantee that they'd be on Into the Dark. But like, even in the open, they're still a fucking menace. A menace. I think Sam Rosen got to pick up a lot of his matches. So Sam Rosen did, and he's another Bats player, Felgor. He also, I believe, went undefeated, or he almost did. So like when you obviously every team is going to do better in the team format. It's very different. Individual performances are going to they're going to vary wildly because you get to pick a lot of matchups, right? Or sometimes you just get fed to the cultist player. But when you play in a 40K team tournament, a lot of times like AdMech is really strong. So who are we going to throw into him? Okay, our weakest player. And they're just going to like get the win. So sometimes like these things are different, but it did show a lot of people's team's faith in Colts. I think Colts are still really, really good. I know I had a really interesting conversation with Nick Craven at Nova. He said that he thought that if he took cultists while he was at the event playing, like right after our game when he beat me, he said, if I brought cultist, every player I've played so far, I think I just would have smashed them. Right. So like even against commandos, if you don't know how to play the matchup well, you still can lose that matchup very easily just because they are a disgusting team.
I think Colts are still so strong. I do think you're right. I think we saw a lot of people bringing what they thought would counter Colts. I do think that at a top level for a lot of people, there's a pride in not taking that team sometimes.
Agreed. People just look at you sideways, they're like, you're that guy.
Like, well, it's cool. Like everyone wants the golden ticket. We still saw players that placed really well, at Nova, that already had their golden ticket,
Yes.
like, so why would you bring the sweatiest team out there when you can bring your favorite team? Have the most fun.
Yeah.
I think that there's a time and place to bring that sweaty team. And Colts are still that team. Anyone who's not prepared for them, they're going to run them over.
Yep. Is there any team that you guys would like to give a shout out that doesn't get the just recognition that they deserve?
I think Hand of the Archon are really good. I think they're right on the cusp of being just absolutely abusive to a lot of people. If you know how to play into them, it can definitely fall apart really quickly. But I think that there's a lot of really good players for them out there. And we could see some really strong results from them in the future.
Interesting thing about those, about Hand of the Archon, is that Nova, a lot of people came up and told me that they actually thought that the Hand of the Archon kind of get fisted by commandos.
Mm-hmm.
So that might keep them back a little bit. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I've never played that much, but from what I've been told, they do fist. They fist hard.
It's not a fun. It's not a fun matchup for Hand for sure. Because I spent some time playing them, and it's it hurts. They're just
Fisting
beyond a lot
does.
of. Yeah. I mean,
Fist of the Archon.
You got to lube up first, man.
Yeah, true.
And that's not the Dark Eldar way, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think that I agree with you. I think they're a very, very solid team, and a good player playing them can crush a lot of people. And they snowball so hard. I think that they're a very, very good team. How about you, G?
I think they're an excellent team. I got to play against them. And if you let that poison grenade go off twice, you're done, dude. You let it go off once, shame on you. That's it. Then you kill that thing right after.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of players, Fabi, which I spoke about earlier, he's incredible with them. I watched him play at Tacoma, and I saw, I was playing Hand of the Archon for a minute. I saw him do stuff that I never even thought about.
He got third, right?
He did, yeah.
Yep.
He's one of our top competitors, I think, for kill screen.
He is your top competitor. I'll just let you know. I know these stats. He is your top Cats player.
He's an incredible player. Consistent, absolutely. Absolutely killer player. Fearsome, and he does stuff with them that I've never seen anyone else do. Just the way that he combos the stuff, really incredible. I think that if they match into commandos with a good player, though, it's real hard. Just Scratch is so strong. That forward deployment with Sneaky Get can create such an oppressive early game state that Hand of the Archon can't snowball in the same way that they need to.
Oh, yeah.
So
I agree. How about you, G? Is there any team out there that you want to give a specific shout out to that you think is stronger than people, or at least strong in the current meta that will be until end of November?
I want to say Kasserkin only because they can do hey, I'm going to guarantee a critical with my points or something. Mm-hmm. But I know in my heart that that's not true.
I mean, they're good. We've seen people play them very well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, I want to say Arbides just because every time I played against them, and it could just
Kellen.
it could just be when exactly. the times when I was playing against the shields, you go in for melee, you're thinking, all right, I'll squash this guy with a chainsword. Nah, he's going to block 2 hits. Okay, I only rolled 3, so I did 4 damage, and then I actually didn't do anything else. And you're just stuck doing that for 2 turns, which means you get no movement forward. So that's a team, especially if melee is still going to be dominant.
Okay,
that might be able to do something.
I will only jump on that train for this one reason, this one thing.
All right.
Okay. No, Exaction Squad is not S tier. And nor do I think they're super great in the meta. I think they have good matches, but no, Giacomo, I don't think so. But I think paired with Inquisition, they are S tier.
I forgot about Inquisition.
I think Vetguard and Exaction Squad and Breachers are all extremely good with Inquisition. We just don't have, there's a lot of hobby on that team, a lot. And people aren't willing to put the time and effort in. And if you're, somebody who likes leaders who actually do things, like myself, you probably won't pick up the team. But
that's true.
I will say that paired with Inquisition, 100%. I think that they are a contender for sure.
Inquisition's solid. I think we don't have enough information about them.
They're slept on.
Absolutely.
They're not great in occultist, and that's why we don't see them a lot. But if you take exaction, they're actually okay into cults. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And same with Vedgard. You get the demo mine with the team, so it's great. For me, I'll say Phobos. Ace has been winning tournaments. Other people in the rest of the rest of the world have been playing a lot of good Phobos stuff. Yes, they suck into Legionary.
I mean, they're not the greatest into Legionary, but it can be done for sure. Yeah. You get your.
It's a points game at that time, not the kill game.
Exactly. You just run away. You play the points. You push forward, then you retreat and shoot them the whole time.
Super tanky Eldar is what they are. The Phobos. That's why I like them.
For sure.
I think that people sleep on the mines with them as well. I think the mines are really good. I might be wrong, but not a true Phobos player at heart. But I will say that I think Mark Garrett is the only one bringing them to big tournaments and having any sort of success. Just shout out to you, Mark, from Plasma Spam. His 2 kits are also really, really good. We'll talk about them soon.
Their kits are crazy.
Yeah, they are. So I think that Phobos to me is also in a really, really good state. Hopefully Games Workshop does not give them another buff.
If they got another buff, they would be oppressive. I mean, I think that they're incredibly strong. They're definitely, I think, S tier. They have
the tools for it.
Yeah, I think that players need to be prepared for Phobos going into the World Championship. I think that you could easily see people from other countries running Phobos. So if your team's not necessarily good into them, who knows? That's a crazy format. Their packet's crazy for the golden ticket. But yeah, I think that, those are some really good top teams and teams to look out for if you guys are looking to up your competitive game until the end of November. The last thing that I'll say on that, and I want to get your guys' thoughts. How long do you guys think it takes for Games Workshop because even Elliot on this most recent thing is hey, we're going to do the balanced data slate at the end of November, early December. And they have to wait for translations because people don't think about it. Translations take a long time in every single language, right? So how long do you guys think that Games Workshop typically takes to do that?
2 weeks.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks is probably a solid lead time for a corporation like that.
For me, I think it's between 3 and 4, just because you also have to put all the words into the correct, PDF documentation, get ready to publicize it all. Who knows how many teams are actually who are actually working on that, or if it's just Elliot, we don't know. Right. So in my opinion, I think that I could see it at 2 weeks, but also I could see it at 3 to 4 weeks. So if we look at it like that, if they're going to come out at the end of November / early December, that means that they have a week waiting time. So maybe it's 2 weeks, maybe it's 3 weeks, maybe it's 3 weeks, maybe it's 4 weeks.
So
3 weeks is probably a safe bet. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
So with the balanced data slate, so we know when that's coming. End of November.
End of November, early December. That is what Elliot said. Yeah.
That means that we have to get this new box any day now. Basically.
No.
Are they balancing data slate for? Is it not going to include? I guess it won't include the new teams.
It never will. It never has. It never does. Right. The only time it's ever happened was with I think it was the Felgor release.
Yes,
right?
I guess Felgor and Colts there, which was our most recent one.
Which was when they released the first one, they just did the Archon Arch thing and they changed one little thing about Felgor. I think they just touched him, which was really fast because every other balanced data slate, they've never touched a team that has just released, right? Because if we think about it, the rumor from Valrak is that the team is going to be announced late October, released early November. Maybe it changes, right? But that's the current rumor. So if it comes out the end of November and we're looking at a 3 week span, that means that they're only going to be taking all of the events up until October, the last week of October, right? Which is going to be Tacoma. It's going to be Kill Scream. It's going to be SoCal Open. those are like the I think the few tournaments that we're looking at that they're going to probably be taking tournament results. And unfortunately, there's other tournaments like New York Open, West Coast Championships that might not get any of their data into it. But if we think about it, that is the first week of November. So if they wait just that extra week, it could be a 2 week to 3 week where it is at the end of November because they're taking tournament results from New York Open. This is just American events. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff happening in Europe, but I'm just talking about for America. Mm-hmm. We could see them then pushing it to a 2 week, 3 week mark, which would also be in the same range. So relatively, I find it fascinating that the World Championships is going to be played most likely on, they're already planning on putting out data that is going to nullify whatever happens in that tournament. If anything, it's just going to verify whatever changes they've made, in my opinion. So I find it interesting to think about this introspectively from, a designer perspective, that some tournaments that they have are going to not be relevant, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. So, and then if we look at the next one, they're probably going to wait until after LVO, because they're probably going to take a lot of results from LVO. So in my opinion, I think that means probably between 2 and 4 weeks after LVO, we'll probably get the next balanced data slate, in my opinion. Which is fascinating to start to hopefully be able to predict when some of these things are going to drop, educationally wise, which then we might finally see, the rumored Striking Scorpions and Scouts possibly nerfed or buffed, because we don't know. We don't know how good they're going to be.
It'd be so cool if Striking Scorpions were an Eldar elite team.
Yeah.
6 models.
6 models. What?
Yeah. That'd be cool. I don't think it's
7.
going to happen.
I think 8. I'm thinking.
I mean,
8.
they have power armor. They're supposed to be as tough as Space Marines in the lore.
My guess is going to be 10 wounds, 3+ saves, like Scouts.
I think Scouts will have 4 up. I think Scouts 4 up. I think so.
You think Scouts are going to have 10 wounds?
Easy. Yeah, Primaris. Scouts used to have 9. Well, they used to have 9. 8. Did they have 8?
Uh-huh.
Are you sure?
They don't have the Black Carapace yet.
Yeah, because all the Primaris always have 1 more, so maybe 9.
Scouts on Primaris yet.
True.
Yeah.
They don't go through the Rubicon until after they get the Black Carapace and then become Marines. Then they can go through the Rubicon. So which is also
dropping the Space Marine knowledge on us.
Another thing, if Scouts is the thing that's rumored to come out, then it has to be sooner than later, because the Space Marine Codex is about to hit next week.
It's got it. What if it tomorrow? Like Sunday.
Oh my God! What if they just go hey, here you go?
That would be sick. But I mean, if we think about it, Tacoma's on the 14th, right? Of October.
Tampa. Yeah.
Tampa.
Yeah.
I think Tampa. They could announce it at Tampa.
They could announce it for pre-order.
And that would be the first. That would be SoCal Open or beginning of November.
Do they have a premiere show at Tampa?
I don't know.
They could.
I think I know that there's that Warhammer World event going on today.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, what if it's today?
No, did us not talk about the most relevant?
No, I'm kidding.
Have you looked more? Have you looked? I'm looking right now.
I'm right here. It's just the new Space Marine release stuff, which, by the way, I dig that Command Squad. It's probably my favorite release they made. But nothing about Scouts. So we don't know if those.
Don't they have a tournament going on in Warhammer World?
Oh yeah,
today,
probably.
I think, and then there's some kind of big event going on there today, and maybe preview show tomorrow or something. I don't know or I'm just mixing stuff up.
Who knows, right?
Yeah, with Games Workshop, I mean, it's better than 10 years ago for sure. So,
it was awful.
At least we get regular news. So.
Yeah. Big shout out to their community team. As much as we want to push more stuff out, we don't get as much as we want anyways, but it's at least more than it used to be. Moving on to our final subject. This might be still a long talking point. It's about some of the teams and how they're doing in the US. And I've done quite a lot of stats. Is there anything you guys want to talk about teams and future stuff before we move on to this?
Well, I mean, like, cats are going to start showing up other places. So the bats and the rats better watch out. You know,
okay.
Like, because cats, they're, predators, small rodents. So
the predators, they're going to kill the rats and kill the bats, huh?
Yeah, something. Probably not. Like, it's all fun and games.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, like Chris Baki. Whew, I played him once. That was wonderful. It was a nightmare. He was like, this is actually how you play novitiates, and then like ran over me. It was incredible. But. No, it's
that was on the awful terrain up at the last Tacoma, right? 2022 Tacoma.
That one doesn't count. Like for real. That
I mean, it counted for him. He got the golden ticket. Count.
Yeah, absolutely.
He got the golden ticket. It counts for something.
If you have to say one Tacoma doesn't count, it's 2022. Okay, Dakotah.
Okay. All right. You hear that, Chris? He's going to be raging on the inside. No,
absolutely. He better come up to Killscream next year and show us what's what.
Exactly. We'll pick you up on the way, Chris. You'll jump in the car and maybe Kill Team's van. We'll all take the long journey, like a Middle Earth journey. It's going to be amazing. He'll probably fly, but
so he has the giant eagles.
Yeah, he does.
We have to go.
He's a bat. He's a bat. He just flies. He's like, I'll show these cats what's up. I'm actually a vampire. Ha ha! I eat cats for breakfast. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Rats, their top predators are going to be
skulking about.
They're going to be were-rats. If we're
were-rats,
talking about D&D.
Were-rats. All right, I like that.
And then were-cats, and then
or would we just be humanoid? What is the cat? What's the cat race called again?
I don't know, but whenever you say cats, I just think about the musical.
I mean,
Jellicle. I can't remember the rest of the line. Jellicle cats because Jellicles can or something.
Yeah. What does cats stand for?
I can't answer that. Sorry.
Okay, fair enough. I can tell you that there's another. There's a cats Discord for California, and it's California Alliance of Teams.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just cat.
Okay. We almost got in Coates.
Yeah, we could have been. What does Coates mean?
I'm California of Alliance Teams. Worse sounding.
Way worse. Cat's got it going on. So what's fascinating is I'm not going to say where all the American teams rank in the world because it's a little depressing. Our top team is Plasma Spam, ranked 5th in the entire world. And they are mostly leaps and bounds above most other teams currently in the US, right? So we're talking about fake internet points. If you guys don't care about fake internet points, feel free to leave us a 5 stars and then just stop the recording now. But if you guys want to hear about some of the extra stuff, this will be a good spot. This might be a good spot to shout out our sponsors and affiliates.
Yes, it is.
Do you want to lead us off on those?
Absolutely. So first, I'd like to thank FLG. They're one of our affiliates. They've been one of our earliest ones. So if you're in the market for new box sets, secondhand models, or attending any of the FLG events that they have throughout the country, consider using the link. Any of them, including SoCal Open, which is coming up, which we will have the link in the description. Consider using the link. Like I'm mentioning, any of that purchase gives us a little bit of a kickback, which helps us run events and helps us keep this podcast going. And then I'd also like to thank Goblin's Hut. They're an awesome group of individuals that make very cool things for your hobby. So if you're looking to step up your hobby game, consider going to their website and checking out their stuff. And feel free to use code SQUAD10 at checkout. Again, that helps us out, and we really appreciate it.
Get that dirty down. All right. Dirty Down's one of their products. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. So interesting thing about SoCal, the last thing that I'll say about them, interesting thing about SoCal is I hear cats in the background.
I hear the cats.
I love it. So that's just Tyler sitting back there just making like cat noises.
Making cat noises.
I moved away from the mic for a minute. I just got to like sell the whole thing,
Yeah.
It's
exactly. Yeah, exactly. SoCal Open, we can fit like 200 players, right? It's a really big venue. We could make it really big. So anyone that's out there, it is a silver ticket this year, so a golden ticket. But you would win the invitational if you place high enough. So interesting thing to think about for anyone thinking about coming to California in October. Maybe plan it around SoCal Open. So moving on to the teams. I have some very interesting things I wrote down like for 2 hours this morning. So Plasma Spam, their highest placed winner is Leander. They have a total of like 1,850 ITC points as a team. The next closest is Kill Team at 1,600, almost 1,700, 1,691. But Cats should be beating them, and I'll tell you why in a second. So Plasma Spam is our number one American team, and they are currently beating everyone by about 160 points, which is on some of these things a full ranking, an entire like placing, right? So if anyone doesn't know how these rankings work, is that you go to a tournament, you put in your email address, and you get, depending on how well you do at the tournament, you get a placing, and that placing provides you a certain amount of points that you can track online to see how well you do throughout the year. Some of these people are also affiliated with teams. These teams then score. There's 10 available scores for yourself on the team, but each person can only submit 3 of their highest scores. So you need at least 4 people competing throughout the year in order for your team to do well. So these are people that have been playing regularly, people that are good, going to different events and doing well. So we're going to give a lot of people shout outs here about, continuing in the hobby and doing well. So Leander Garrett has first place on his team. He has the most amount of points from Adepticon, winning Adepticon with first place at 209 points. Nick Craven is second and third with almost 200 points on one, 190 on one from KTO and Nova. And then we have Mark Garrett in third place with 191. We have Jeremy with a 189, leading them to have an 1849 overall from their 10 full scores. Now, what's interesting about this team is that Leander only has 1 in the top 5 scores. Nick Craven has 2. And then we have Mark Garrett and Jeremy. Jeremy's awesome, by the way. He's pretty new to Kill Team. Went out to dinner, hung out with him a lot when I was at KTO. So this Plasma Spam is also a really good group of dudes. They're just super nice. Like I said, they hosted me when I went over to Nova, and they're super fantastic people. What's interesting is that Orion isn't on here, but that's particularly because he did not compete at KTO. There's going to be a running trend that we see when we look at some of these events. There's a lot of repeats on certain events. Like KTO had 87 players. So even people who got like 35th place still got enough points from that event, because that event gave out so many points to still place in the top 5 on their teams, right? Mm-hmm. Which is fascinating. And that's going to lead me to talk about LVO, because LVO, we could easily see LVO be twice as big as KTO this year. And that's going to be the final penultimate placings where we're going to see some of these teams. Kill Team in their top 5 is very interesting. We have Jimmy Kelly and Austin leading the way, Austin Lewis leading the way for Kill Team. Jimmy Kelly has 3 scores. Austin Lewis has 2 scores. That is the 2 leading contributors to Kill Team, leading them to the second place United States highest total team of 1691. Now, what's fascinating is that Jimmy is going to have a hard time beating his top scores here. He has a BAO, KTO, and a 24-man tournament. Obviously, if he goes to a 30-man to a 32-man tournament, gets first place or anything above, he can still beat out one of his records, but it's not going to add a ton of points. He's going to have somebody from KTO, from Kill Team, step up, like one of his sons who are getting a lot better. Ezekiel and Jesh are getting a lot better at this game. I've seen them grow leaps and bounds over this year. So perhaps one of them or Kevin Burton or somebody, if they can score first place at an event, we could see some of these people change. Now, something interesting about Cats. I want to see your thought process on these. We first have Greg that got second place at Tacoma, which he was on the podcast last time, right?
Absolutely.
He played Phobos. Really cool dude. And, played one of the factions that we just shouted out on this episode. Then we have Fabi, right? Fabriel. I don't know. So Fabi, third place at Tacoma and first place at Inside of the Wire. Inside Wire? One of your
Inside
guys'
the Wire. Yeah.
Inside the Wire. One of your guys' events. Got third. And then we have Matt Small from Behind Enemy Lines. And then Tyler, you with 166 points, placing ninth at Tacoma. Now, what's fascinating is that you guys have 1,663 total points out of your 10 scores. What's very interesting about these guys, right, is that you actually have, I believe Cats is also like, you have two teams. You have one third place team, and then you have another Cats team ranked like 13th or 15th or something. I don't know. I think it's 17th because people have been misputting in Cats into BCP. So instead of doing C.A.T.S. or whatever it is, they would just put Cats in. So if you take some of those scores that should be here, right, you have an actual score of 1,730 points, which would put you 40 points ahead of Kill Team, which would mean that you guys are the second place in North America as a team, which is very impressive.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Way to go, guys. I didn't even know that. So shout out to Cats.
Yeah. This is Dakotah's detective stat work. Now, what's also interesting is that Plasma Spam and Kill Team both have... Plasma Spam has 3 players in the top 10 ITC rankings currently for the United States. So I believe it's Leander, Liam, and Nick Craven. Those are the top 3 players that they have top, that's very impressive that 3 of their players are also the top players in the United States. Cats, Kill Team also has just 1 player, which would be Jimmy Kelly at second place. So he is beating Plasma Spam. Leander's, I think, third, but I think that has to do with a lot of recent tournament bias. I think Leander was leading the United States for quite some time. Cats, your top player's ranked 14th. He's not in the top 10, and that's Fabi, which is very fascinating as well. Make sure when you guys are submitting for your guys' teams, you guys do put in your right team affiliation so that your team can get scoring. And then people that care about it, maybe me or, people that talk about stuff, can talk about it on weird internet things. We have the Brooklyn Strategist with 4th. What's interesting about Brooklyn is I believe they also have 3 players in the top 10. They are ranked 4th as a team though, with 1,608 points. And that's first place is we have Adrian, not only in the world, but also on his team, providing the most amount of points. We have Nestor, which hopefully I said your name right, brother. Nestor. He's 6th overall in the world and contributing highly with his points, and same with Joey Cruz. Joey Cruz, great Harlequins player, ranked 10th in the United States and providing a lot there as well. And then True Carlson, which I've played True. He has a 5th place ranking on his team of great vet guard player, and his comes from KTO. So Brooklyn Strategist, great team, both out there and top 10 players and overall for US. Then we get into a couple other interesting teams. Is there anything you guys want to talk about for these teams? Does it surprise you that you guys are 3rd, should be 2nd?
It really does. I know we have some phenomenal players out here. I think that the way ITC is scored, though, it definitely favors the larger events, I believe.
It does.
So I think that that's one reason we don't see any higher ranked players is because we just don't have the people traveling. Obviously with Killscream, we're going to have big points awarded to people. So we'll
Agreed.
see where standings go there. We'll see some people bumped up, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. So what's fascinating about bringing that up, like I said, there's only 2, possibly 3 events left on the East Coast. We have New York Open. So if you want your guys' teams to do well, make sure you travel out to the New York Open. They have Tampa. Tampa's going to be pretty big, I would hope. And then finally, the Georgia event, the Warhammer finale. A lot of people are traveling from all over, and it's only invitational. So we're not sure if that's even going to give out ITC points because they didn't last year. So possibly only 2 on the East Coast compared to not SoCal, the West Coast. We have Killscream, we have SoCal Open, the West Coast Champs, and then we have LVO. So there's still 4 big events for these West Coast players to gain points, or for the East Coast players that might have to travel if they're trying to maintain these leads. Hopefully 40K Games Workshop cares more about like our overall rankings, because I think Ace is number 1 in the world. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see, from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the next team is the Rail Splitter Ruffians. That's interesting. I've never heard of them. How about you, G? Have you ever heard of the Rail Splitting Ruffians?
No, but I like the name.
Rail Splitter Ruffians. Now, I've heard of Jonathan Reynolds quite a lot. He's the best, possibly the best Wormblade player in the United States, at least this year. I know that Anthony is also a very good Wormblade player, but he hasn't been playing them much this year. Jonathan is the highest person in his team. He does a lot. He's ranked. He's also in the top 10, ranked 4th in the US as a Wormblade player. And what's fascinating is he has not been too many events in quite some time, which might be the reason why they are, buffing Wormblade, because he stopped playing them. So he stopped winning with them. So shout out to you, Jonathan. You're really playing that you're really playing that long con, just as a true Wormblade player would be,
He's just waiting to pop out a conceal.
Exactly. He's hiding in the shadows. It's a gene stealer.
He's going to play all of his ploys at once. He's going to get full rerolls on you. You not even know it's going to hit you. So.
Absolutely. So it's interesting because I've never met any of them. So it's really cool to see people that I've never met every time I've traveled over to the East Coast. I've never met them. I think they must be a Midwest team because they go to a lot like KCO and Adepticon. So very interesting. Then we have in 6th place in the United States, we have Bats, the Bay Area Tournament Squad. Now, what's interesting about them is the Bats have not gone to a lot of big tournaments this year. They had BAO and they had the AVTT and they have a couple monthly events, but they haven't traveled too much. Now, what's interesting, the most interesting thing about Bats, they have a 1529 score, 70 points behind the Rail Splitters, and basically 200 points behind where Cats should be. First place is Chris Bakke from a score of 172 at BAO, second place. And then the rest of them are pretty much from the All Valley Team Tournament, because they did, 3 of their players got first place, and it's split evenly amongst them all. They each got 172 points. What's fascinating, though, is I know the Bats are going to LVO. And last year, Bats did very, very well. Chris got in the top 8, Miguel got in top 8, and I think Sean also did very well. So in the overall year standard, we could see, which was interesting, is it was Sean's first really big tournament. We could see the Bats catapult ahead of a lot of teams if they do well at LVO, because LVO is going to give out so many dang points.
I mean, I expect them to do well. They were fearsome last year. And they were looking sharp in their uniforms too. Mm-hmm. Those jerseys, good. Jerseys. Like, they were looking real good. And, they performed well too.
Trust me, at the AVTT, they came out and there was a flock of them. And people just couldn't bat them away fast enough. Get it? when you'd slay one bat, the next one would come in. It's exciting. I'll just go over a couple more teams. We have the Brooklyn Rats in 7th place. It's interesting is last year they were a really big, threat in North America. Everyone was talking about the Brooklyn Rats. And this year leading them up is Layla and Travis and Rami. They have the top 5 scores from KTO and their other monthly events. But this year they just don't seem as much of a threat. Hopefully, I also know that they're running the New York Open, so I don't even know if they're going to get very many points for the New York Open. Hopefully they travel to, Tampa and score a couple more points if they even care. But I find it pretty interesting, pretty fascinating, nonetheless, that they were such a big presence last year. And then this year they're kind of, in 7th place currently. Still good, but not where I thought they would be. Some of these things were very surprising. I didn't expect Cats to be in 2nd place, the rightful 2nd place.
Absolutely. We're a big team, though.
Yeah.
I think that we are probably the largest team, technically.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of us. So,
Which is not a bad thing.
No, but I mean, it allows us to, but our top players are performing incredibly well. I expect them when we show up to more national events, people get to know us as a team. We'll get our name out there.
What's interesting is all of these people outside of the rail splitter ruffians are all pretty much from the big local metas. So we have New York, we have Baltimore-ish area, Washington, D.C. We have Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland, and then we have Bay Area, and then we have L.A. And those are kind of like the really big areas. That's where people can score the most points, where they're running a lot of tournaments. People are actually going to these and competing.
Mm-hmm.
So in 8th place, I'm just going to get to where Squad Games is. So you people don't have to worry about me droning on for much longer. Victory Gamers from Washington, D.C. has Adrian Martin in 1st place on their team. Adrian won the golden ticket last year. He's an amazing player. In 2022, he challenged for some of the top positions at LVO. He's very, very good. Very good dude too. They also have Bogo and Philip Conan. I'm not sure who either one of those are, but shout out to you, both of you fellas, for leading your team to victory. In 11th place, we're going to skip a couple here. We have Six-Sided Legion, which they just came out to, the All Valley. And both players played pretty well at KCO. And Brett did really well at KTO, which leads to a lot of their top scores. And then Blaine, Brett, and Ethan, they have a YouTube channel. Make sure you check them out, Six-Sided Legion. But they all have scores from the All Valley Team Tournament too. They have 1,000 points. In 12th place, this one's interesting. Command Point is in 12th. They only have 7 out of 10 logged events. So Ryan and I know it's mostly just Shane and Ryan, but Matthew Howell also put his team as Command Point at KTO, which boosts their numbers. If they're looking to, hopefully if they go to the New York Open or Tampa or LVO, they get one more person to top out some of those stats, because currently Shane has 5 of the top 6 scores on his team, but only the top 3 scores from his team count. So he has a 213, 205, and a 187 that counts for his team, carrying his team to victory by himself. Ryan and Matt Howell, you guys are both great players. Looking forward to you guys scoring more points for the Command Point boys. We're going to skip the next team and get to Squad Games. Yes. Yay. We're at 14th place in the United States, 54th in the world.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We only have 2 ranked games this year for Giacomo.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Me
So,
twice.
so hopefully next year, because we're pretty much out of tournaments at this point in time. Hopefully next year we can, me, Sai, and Giacomo can travel a little bit more as a team, going to different tournaments. We're not a competitive team, but we like to have fun.
We like our internet points.
We do. Internet points, they don't mean anything, but they're fun to talk about.
Absolutely. It's like fun. We're not here, we're all here to have fun, but like the competition is part of what makes Kill Team fun. I think especially with this edition, it plays kind of competitively, and it's best played, in a fun, competitive setting.
Yeah. What's interesting about us, I agree with you. Also, what's interesting about our team is that we've never got first place.
Nope.
Nope. I think my top one is like eighth at my top scorer is eighth at Nova, and then third at two of the San Diego tournaments, and then I scored pretty well at BAOs too because I got fifth. Giacomo and Saya also went to the San Diego ones with us, and Saya went to BAO and competed and did pretty well. I think she got 12th overall there, so top half.
That's not bad.
Really good.
The last two shout outs that I would like to see come out to possibly the All Valley next year. And I'm bringing these up for multiple reasons. One, LVO is probably your last chance for your team to score a lot of points. So if you guys are listening and I shouted out your team and you guys want to, do well and be competitive, possibly come to LVO and score a lot of points for your team. And we can see where, maybe some of the best players are, at least the people who are maybe not the best, but competing and participating in events. Because who knows, maybe you're like a secret backroom gamer and you're the best player in the United States. But if you don't come out to tournaments and you're not sharing your knowledge, then, you're not going to be growing the community at all. Right. So we could see the OG Kill Team. That's from Florida. Benjamin McMillan and John Peterson and Matt Wildrug. You guys are from Florida. I see your guys' scene is also growing and popping off. They only have 6 out of 10 games registered. So hopefully they all go to Tampa and, score some more points and see where they actually rank out. Right now, they're 17th in the U.S. And then we have 24th in the U.S. Six-Sided Paradise. That's with George. Big shout out to you, homie. I love George. We have Dawson, who got 6th place at Nova, Jacobs and Thomas. Jacobus. So what's interesting about Six-Sided Paradise is that they're a very brand new team. They all went to Nova together. They all had team jerseys. It was great. They're a really cool bunch of dudes. So hopefully they run some more tournaments in Florida. Maybe they think about, traveling again, maybe next year to other events. And I'd love to see that team grow so that we can talk about more than, some of these top teams. It's interesting to have the narrative shift and change and talk about new people in the scene rather than the same people and over.
Absolutely. It's time for some, Kill Teams. It's coming to maturity. We're 2 years into it. It's time for us to develop some rivalries between these clubs. We need some stuff going on. We need friendly smack talk, and more interplay between everyone.
Agreed.
So,
exactly.
It's time to come together as a community and develop that. So
100% agree.
Agree.
Absolutely, which is why the cats are eating all of the other rodents next year. So,
one interesting one is last year, the Basement Wargamers, who mostly ran KTO. They were really big last year, and this year we have seen their decline. We haven't seen them scoring very much. They are 16th in the U.S., but they haven't scored a lot lately. So it'd be interesting to see them come back and play some more. It's interesting to see where these teams pop up and where people are growing the community and where, some of the competitive players are out there, so, I know I throw a lot of stats at you guys really fast, probably not really fast, probably super boring, but it's still something interesting to think about. I would love to see a lot of these people talk a little bit more in the Discords and as a team,
Absolutely. Do we need a team Discord, like Kill Team Rivalries Discord, where it's just like you'd only smack talk other teams?
That would be great.
I don't know. We need something like
maybe in the lead up.
absolutely. Like
Yeah.
it's just like an area to post friendly smack talk.
I would love to see a lot of these teams come out to the All Valley just to see where a lot of these people, because I've been talking to some of the Florida guys, talking to the Brooklyn Rats, talking to you, talking to Bats, Kill Team, and a lot of these top players, Plasma Spam, a lot of these players, are thinking about coming next year. So if you're a Six-Sided Legion, so like it'd be very interesting to see a lot of teams come together at one event and just see how well, they can do. I know it's a team tournament. It's a little bit different, but it's fun.
No,
so,
it's fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a game, we're looking to have fun. So
absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to shout out, Tyler?
I mean, like at the moment we just got Kill Scream coming up, which is going to be crazy. I wish I could have made it to the All Valley team tournament, but Kill Scream is too heavy on my mind.
Exactly. What about next year? I mean, do you have anything else this year? I think you said something in December, right?
Maybe we do something in December, but at the moment we don't have anything else planned. We will do kind of a quick little tournament right before LVO to prep everyone who's going to be going out there. But towards the end of the year, it gets a little hectic, holidays and stuff like that. So we haven't announced anything yet. We just finished up some shirts and stuff like that. And I know we got some more cool stuff coming, some stickers and hoodies and stuff like that here in the next couple months. So I'm going to be releasing a sticker pack with our Breacher Beach Vacation stickers here shortly, available for everyone. And like just all kinds of cool stuff. We're really kind of digging into the art and trying to get the merch out there, because this is a cool game, but people need cool stuff to wear while they play it.
Yes, they do.
So
it's got to be the right fit.
Yeah, we have some cool merch. We have some hats that we sell at events. We'll probably open them up here soon to online. So if anyone wants to support the podcast or our events, you can buy them online. We also sell like lasers, the green laser pointers that aren't readily available.
I want one of those green lasers. You keep posting it and teasing me with it.
I do.
Send one up for the winner also, and then one for me too.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that. I could definitely do that. Yeah, and then something that I'm working on, I think I've told Giacomo a little bit about, but is official game mats from Squad Games and yours truly. Some art that I've done digitally, trying to bring those game mats to our events and to everyone else, and we're looking at start at 100 different 100 game mats. So if people are interested in doing some of those, we might be opening up, some pre-orders for LVO or shipping wise. So we've been talking about it. Pretty interesting.
We need to talk about that in another conversation. I've been talking with someone else about game mats.
Oh yeah.
I haven't stopped thinking about game mats for like the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, honestly. You should hit me up.
we have a long conversation to have, I think, Dakotah.
Yes.
About this. But that's one of the things that I keep going. This is missing from the hobby. Why don't we have any cool game mats that actually have what we need on it, like all the other games do? So.
Sounds good. I'm going to try and get your live reaction. Hold on. So everyone can listen. Let's see here.
Live reaction.
Live reaction.
For your ears only.
Yeah, ears only. You guys can't see it just quite yet because, secrets for the Imperium.
Okay, fucking amazing. Love it.
Giacomo hasn't even seen this yet. I might do something more to the sides. You see the kind of the gray parts? I'm thinking about adding a little bit more. This is an open mat.
And then that's the 3-inch deployment. Then you have the, oh man, I like it. The diagonal center line. It's really good. It fits your aesthetic really well with your stuff too.
Yeah, it's meant to be for the Repentant Outpost stuff. And then we're going to probably do the Necromachina one as well. So this one's not done. I'm still working on it quite heavily. But this is the overall aesthetic of what it's... This one has the 3-inch, the 6-inch, the center lines, and the diagonals as well. So...
That's Matt's, man.
Okay, these are so cool, dude. Like, oh my gosh, I love the way that you fit that in there, that neon green.
Yeah, and
if I'm giving away too much though.
No, that's fine. What's
Can they
interesting?
hear what neon green sounds like?
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
so everyone knows on the podcast, the Necro Machina board is going to be exactly like my light up board that I did. I have to make the one that you're seeing is very raw. I think I did it in like 20 minutes. So I have to make some glow effects and stuff like that. But essentially, this board is going to look like the glow board that I have that everyone likes so much, but it's not going to have the $600 price tag. We're looking at pricing these at probably $35 to $30 per mat. So, it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be cool. And I'm pretty excited. So
that's really cool. Neoprene mats are so needed.
They really are.
So our cardboard mats are really starting to look beat up.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Yeah, cardboard mats are still good for uneven tables like LVO, but neoprene. Giacomo keeps telling me that we need more neoprene mats. So here you go, G. What do you think?
I really appreciate that you're making them, and I like the designs because, carrying cardboard is okay, but I like the feel of neoprene against my models
And dice.
and dice.
Yeah,
Everything's bounces better on neoprene.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that's where we'll round it out. Thanks for Tyler for jumping on. Thanks for everyone for listening. G, Tyler, is there anything else you guys want to shout out at the end?
I think I'm good. Just check out Kill Scream 3 coming up next year. Watch the what you see coming out for stats and stuff like that. I'm sure Dakotah will go over them because they should be interesting. But we've
especially if Intercession wins again, I might have a heart attack.
Honestly, I may have a heart attack if Intercession wins again. I know I got some flack for my Intercession comments, but I would be surprised if they won again.
I would be very intrigued. It would actually make me happy because then I'd have more to talk about. Bring you back on and be like, all right, what happened? What happened? Tell me. Tell me the secret sauce.
If it happened, it's Matt. That's probably what happened. If
the Emperor's chosen.
He's good. He's cagey. I've played a number of games against Matt, and they have been some of the most difficult ones I've ever played.
Good.
So, if Intercession wins again, it's probably just a player coming out and showing really, really strong with them. But yeah, that'd be wild.
Absolutely. How about you, G?
I have a couple things to say. If you want to find me on Instagram, I'm at wargaming_studios. Right now, I'm currently working on Casterkin, so you can see that progress. And of course, I'll post it on Discord as well. And speaking of Discord, you can find us on the Squad Games Discord. We'll have links in the show notes. And then lastly, I want to thank our patrons. Thank you so much for supporting us, continuing to support us and helping us do what we do. So if you're ever interested in supporting the podcast in a different way, consider going to our Patreon. That's it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you guys.
Meow. The Squad Games Podcast is a production of Squad Games Entertainment. For more information on Squad Games, please visit our website at lestersworkshop.com/squad-games.